Hello there. We've got the green back, but we'll have to live with that. I can't record it any earlier now. It's only an hour or so until release. So I think this is probably the latest recording I've done so far of all of them. Can't get much closer than that one. And as you can probably expect, based on the last couple of presentations, it's gone up. It's not jumped up a huge amount. It's gone up 2 places, which obviously shifted number 2 and number 3 down to be number 3 and number 4, and that's how it all sorts itself out now, I suppose. I talked about Sufyan's having an effect with the fact that he was in what did I say, that he was in 2 of the charts, because obviously he couldn't be in 2000 because he hadn't been released then, but that he was hanging in and staying within the top 5. This one then becomes a little bit more impressive in that this one has been around since 2000, but it had actually only just come out because it comes from 1999. So it was basically, it was interesting. I talked about the fact that Keaton Henson had done well with Initium to be number 17 the year after its release in a top 50 of all time. But this track actually, the year after its release, was number 4 in the top 30 of all time. It actually went straight in at number 4. And then last year, or 10 years ago, last time, it dropped a place to number 5. So it still stayed within the 5. And this year it's gone up 3 places to go up to all the way up to number 2. I also talked about the fact that the Pumpkins had managed to be in the top 10 for the 20 years and now managed finally to make it in the top 5. And this one has been consistently in the top 5. I also mentioned that there were 3 artists in the top 10 that hadn't appeared in the 50 already. And they're actually, I said that Eels at number 8 were the first of the in the top 10. But obviously the other 2 haven't arrived yet. So that means one of them must be today and one of them must be tomorrow. So the top 2 of the entire 50 are artists that haven't actually featured anywhere in the 50 as yet. So what is number 2? There's a little bit more suspense in this one, in the fact that for a lot of you there is no suspense, but for those that have been around in the 2000 and 2010 charts, that this makes a big difference on what comes up tomorrow. The thing I'm happy about is that even though there's going to be at least 4 or 5 of you, that when you hear today's artist, you already know what number 1 is. But thankfully, it's only a few of you, and thankfully, you only have to wait. It's only a day. You only get the information a day early, so it's not a big killer. Imagine finding out this today, and then next Saturday you find out number 1, and you were like, "Oh, I knew that all along. I've known that for 7 days." No. Well, look at this one. Fiona Apple, When the Pawn, the album. It's got a much longer title that goes on forever. But if we look at the CD, she's written there, When the Pawn. So I'm going to go with that one. It's how it's catalogued, and it's how it's known. Just because she decided to be a bit silly and make a title of about 45 words, then we're not going to bother about that now. So what's this one doing here? Well, I haven't actually said which one it is, but it is I Know from When the Pawn. And this is here because of the reason it came in so high in 2000 was the autumn actually that I was actually quite in love with Tina, shall I say. but things weren't going so smooth that we weren't even together, so things were a little bit all over the place and a bit complicated there. And the thing was that the difference between the charts now and then is because the charts were going to be done in a different way this year. I had to have my 50 ready in April, whereas the previous two that I've done, 2010 and 2000, the chart had to be finalized 2 days before. So it had to be ready for the event, which was when I had friends round and I went through all the chart. So this time, this time I had to get my chart out really early. So if this had been the same situation 20 years ago, it wouldn't have made it in the chart. But because I had right up until my birthday, and we had our communication most of that year, it actually became a given for me, in terms of the fact that I love the tune, I love the music, but it's the lyrics that's a big one for this. And basically, the song is all about a woman who's in love with somebody who is with somebody else, and is sort of, you get the impression that he's not happy with that person, but he doesn't know how to say the words to finish it. And so Fiona, as the narrator, is using the idea that she's the one waiting for him to make up his mind, but she's prepared to wait. She uses a lot of theatrical metaphors. So she talks about the theatre a lot, like standing on the side of the stage and waiting for the encore and the curtain to fall and all that kind of thing. But the essence of the song is that she's in love with this person and she's going to wait for them. She knows it's the right thing. So the thing is that because when I'd expressed how I felt to Athena and made her all confused, she also let me know that she was in love with somebody else, so that it would be very difficult to switch those affections over to me. So it became very all over the place for me emotionally. I was listening to this when I was in when I'd left Sweden and when I was in Turkey and also in Denmark. And I was concentrating on the lyrics quite a lot. And at one point, I can't remember when that was, but at one point I actually wrote out the lyrics by hand, sentence for line for line, with a gap in between, and then actually explained how that line referred to mine and Athena's relationship. And it became our song. And both of us agreed without any doubt whatsoever that it would be the song we danced to at the first dance at the wedding, because it was the culmination of the message that was given in the song. That because that's what I did do. I did wait, and I did go through a few trials and tribulations there while she faffed around deciding who was the person for her, while I had to sit around and accept all that. And you know me, I'm very laid back and not demanding at all. So it was very easy for me to just sit back and let all that go. And obviously, then I mentioned in the Galapagos, the video there, that she'd actually said no. So then there was the whole process of you've said no, but I'm still hanging in there. So, and not only that, because it was our wedding song and because we played it at the wedding, what happened then was we made a decision, or Athena made a decision, and she's actually been very, very rigid with this rule, is that on our anniversary day, at some point in that day, I have to go and put it on, play the song, and we dance to it the same way we did at the wedding. So we do that every year. So this year, when we do it in a couple of weeks, it will be the 19th time we've done it in a row. And yeah, so like I said, these are the songs or these are the tracks that tell you a bit about me, or tell myself about me. And it was in, it went in at number 4 because of the impact it had on the beginning of the relationship, before the relationship had even got going. And then it was still within the 5 after we'd been married for 9 years. And now, after we've been married for 19 years, I feel like it's got a bit more of an impact. It affects me more than pretty much any other track, bar one. So that's why it's here at number 2. Because I knew, I didn't deny the pain, and I knew, and I pushed, and I waited, and I whined, and I nagged, and I did everything to make sure I got this woman. And now we've been married for 19 years, so hanging in there. Tomorrow is the big one. At the moment, the idea is that I'm going to be publishing a video which is the rundown from 50 to number 2, with different guests announcing the number before I get my little slides out and show you that. I thought I'd do that probably in the afternoon at some point. And then my plan, if all goes well, is that I'm going to do my first ever YouTube live presentation of number 1. So the idea is that I'm going to give you a time at some point during the day, and it's going to be a live video. So I'm going to, like I said, you know, I think we're up to number 2 now, and Galapagos is the only one so far that I've stopped, and then I didn't edit that. I just stopped it completely and then started again. So that's the only one of the 49 I've done so far. So I think I could get through a live one, actually. I think it'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of interesting as well, because I get the impression it's like loads of text coming up at the side while I'm chatting. We've already worked out with the family who's sitting in what room with what gadget, so that they can all be involved in that way, because there'll be no video for them to watch there. At that point, they'll be live like everybody else. So it'd be cool if people are joining in. My idea is that with that one, because it's going to be live, I'm actually going to present the track and then play it afterwards and have that as part of the live feed, so you can listen to it with me. I've heard it a few times, but it is the best thing there is. So, but at the moment, I would like you to go and listen to I Know by Fiona Apple, because it's wonderful. I don't even think I mentioned the talent she is, and this album is brilliant. And she's got a voice to die for. She's one of my favorite artists, which even though she's not got anything in the lower end of the chart, she's had that before, so she might make a comeback. But this song's a go-to. This song's always there, and like I said, 20 years it's been in the top 5, and definitely deserves to be there. Hope you enjoy it. Think you might.